I'm Devon Unger, a guitar player. I was going to say lead guitar, but there's only one guitar player in the band. So and, a lot of fun doing it. Doing it for about 15 years.
Mike, I'm the drummer. I've been playing drums for 15 years, or something like that, maybe times 3. Anyway, yeah.
Tony C here on keyboards. I've been playing since Dirt was new, and yeah, it's been a while. I think I've been in this band since Dirt was new. Actually, it feels like
he's got a Depends endorsement.
Yeah, I can hook you up.
Their stage model, yeah.
Yeah. Just let me know.
Well, with that, I am Brittany, and I have also been doing music forever, and been in the band 7 years now. Tony and I have been in the band, so it's a lot of fun.
Lead vocals.
Oh yeah, I sing. There's that.
Hi, Candy.
Yeah, I've been doing it a long time too, as most people know.
Thanks very much for joining us today, guys. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
You too.
Yeah, you too, bud.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. So Limberlost released your new album, Beautiful Scars, on June the 13th. So it's not that long now, guys. How you feeling about it?
Can't wait.
It's been like getting ready to give birth, you know. I mean, we've been cultivating this thing since, probably last November, you know, getting ready to be exactly where we are. So it's very exciting to know that it's just around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Can you dive into it a bit deeper musically and tell us what you're going for this time around?
Ooh. Well, it's definitely Beautiful Scars was so much fun because it's a concept album. It takes on the Japanese art form of kintsugi, which is an art form of repair, where when like a piece of pottery is shattered, they'll repair it using gold, and so it becomes more beautiful because it was broken. So we took this and sort of used it as an analogy onto a person, and how a person goes through their life and they get all these scars or they get these certain things, and we make a lot of meaning to it. But what if we made it mean that it made you more beautiful, and what if this is like a coming to terms with who you are? And so the whole album, the whole concept of the album is that. And then what's cool is that Limberlost ended up kind of living that. We broke up and then we got pieced together with some gold here, like the Unger said.
I'm gonna blush now.
Steve's fool's gold, but
we're making it work. No. So it's it's really cool. So it starts like with Alien. You'll hear lyrics that give you a sense of dysphoria, about not feeling safe or feeling alien, in your presence. And then it moves into just recognition of who you are. And then there's, Velvet and Venom to all the way to the end, Beautiful Scars. But every single song inside of there has a story and has a piece of it. Man on the Run even is a story about a true story, actually, about a whistleblower that we happened to meet in our tours. We happened to meet the whistleblower for the Ruja Ignatova case, and he challenged us to write a song. So we did. We wrote it for him. That's on this album. So there's definitely when you stand up and you figure out who you are and what you're supposed to be in this world, and then you do that and you own that, and that's what this is about. So.
That's pretty much what she said.
That was
what she said times 2.
It's badass, man.
You mentioned the single Alien. That's also a song that you've released as lead single. So why choose that one to represent the album?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm curious too.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because as we started shopping demos, our management, Paul Crosby from, he's a rock drummer from Saliva. I kind of started, throwing some demos past him as we started, Brittany and I were kicking these things out. And then we also had a couple label people we were talking to. And what we found what was really funny is as we started sending these things around, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 songs at a time, we'd always get back, these are my favorite ones, or these are my favorite. And they were always different, but the one thing that always was consistent is the number one was Alien. That everybody always fell in love with that song. And it was kind of something for me too. It just kind of really grew on me heavy, personally. And I remember coming in and telling Brittany, I think Alien's the one. And it also represents a pretty good departure from the Limberlost that we were. Nothing wrong with the Limberlost we were, but we've made change, both visually and sonically, and how we move into this new project. So it really is one of the, I think, it kind of stamps that a little bit. Tells everybody, yeah, it's not. This isn't what you were expecting.
Yeah, the evolution of the sound even took me really by surprise. 'Cause I've known Limberlost. I've known these guys for a long time. In my other bands that I played in, we've done shows and stuff together, and they've got me on cool bills and stuff. So I've always not only got to see them as a spectator and seeing them live and stuff. It's just somebody watching their show, but now being a part of it, and I've seen it everything in between. The changes all in between, and yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive how well done this is being. So in my opinion.
Yeah, nice.
I think the theme of the song also it's got a kind of a universal theme of like feeling out of the group, out of place, and everybody. It communicates that feeling really well, I believe. The whole concept of don't you feel a little alien,
Okay.
And there's a few songs like that in the album that I think people are really going to relate to. That's going to grab something inside of them because they're universal themes.
And also, let's not discount the fact that we put a couple tinfoil hats on here about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And we started going down this ancient alien rabbit hole a little bit. So there was some inspiration that was to, hey.
Such a great show. Hashtag ancient aliens.
Yes,
yeah.
hashtag ancient aliens. Don't you feel just a little bit alien?
But yeah, there's definitely there's truth in that, in terms of walking down that alien path, but then also the lyrics striking dysphoria. But it's not the only one too. There's also Alone, which I think a lot of people will see themselves, I think, inside of this album. And that's what we were going for. It was a reflection of our own journey, but I think one that a lot of people have gone through.
That's honestly one of my favorite songs on the album. Like, probably is my favorite one. And it's not even like an upbeat hardcore rock one or anything. It's just so well written and put together. It's really beautiful.
Nice. And you've spoken about the evolution of the band. So how does Beautiful Scars differ musically to your previous album, Good Fight? And will older fans of the band still appreciate the newer stuff?
I think they will.
I think so.
What do you think? Yeah.
I think any band that changes their sound, whether it be Motley Crue or Limberlost, you're going to gain a few and you're going to lose a few, right?
Yeah.
True. Maybe. Hopefully you gain more than you lose. I think that there's no way you'll lose more than you gain with this new sound. This sound is like, it's like Limberlost 2.0. It's like really good, So there might be somebody out there that's like, no, it's not like the original, like what I like, but there's 5 other people that are like, oh, this is badass. That take his spot times 5. So, whatever.
Yeah, there's certain things in the earlier albums, not that they're gone. I mean, it's still a Limberlost album. I think there's still a connection there, but it's just a modernized version. And they may be emphasizing a little less on the bluesy or a little less on the country compared to where some of the earlier stuff was.
I do agree
and a little more modern rock, a little heavier,
It's definitely more my style. I'm more modern, heavy rock, metal kind of guy. So, like, I like their old stuff too, but this stuff is way better in my opinion.
A lot of our old album stuff too was, they were compilation kind of things. Like we'd single, and then scoop it up and make an album, kind of thing. So this was a little different departure for us too, is that we created the whole, the whole soundscape all the way through. And actually there was a couple, 2 or 3 songs that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
And then came up with the 10 and said, okay, here's the album. Now this is the sound. This is where we're going for. So.
Cool. Now, sonically, Limberlost blends. There's so much going on with you guys. You got rock, there's metal, there's a bit of pop, there's blues, there's heaviness. You got so much going on, and on paper that shouldn't work, but somehow you guys make it. So, how difficult is it to get the balance right in the creative process?
It's challenging, primarily because there is so much going on. And we're trying to bring that CD to the live show. There's so much, nothing really repeats on the CD, the album. Every time we do a chorus or a pre-chorus or a verse, it's different than the last time, and all the breaks between are different from the, So there's a lot of it never gets boring. I'll tell you that. We're just trying to kind of keep the sonic, the soundscape the same, and keep the changes the same, and just kind of bring it to the live show. But like you say, there's a lot of different things there that fortunately we've got a great lineup of musicians here that are able to cover pretty much all grounds. So, we're able to do, If there's anything that we can't do on the album, it's probably because we just don't have enough fingers and hands and feet and stuff. Because there's quite a bit on there.
I hope I've got this right, because there's only one female sitting there. But have you guys got 2 female vocalists?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Sammie couldn't be here with us today.
Right. Now that's one of the few bands I can think of that's actually got 2 female lead vocalists. So how do you make the dynamics of that work in a band?
Yeah, we get asked that a lot, actually. There are several bands out there that have several females or 2 female leads, but I would say probably the most prominent one is Heart, that most people would think of. And initially in our formation, they were a big inspiration for us, and you probably can hear that in some of our songs. And then we sort of deviated from that in this new album into our own brand and our own feel, and that's what's really exciting. And yeah, you know, it's different. It's different than what you would expect from any other show, because we do have the 2 female present. And what's amazing is that we have, you know, me and Sammie come from a similar background, and we come from the same level of education and professionalism. So there's no ego between us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're always about what serves the song and what's going to serve the show and the performance. And that's what's really cool.
Yeah. And you're both classically trained and accomplished opera singers. So how did the 2 worlds of music transition with each other, like opera through to hard rock and sort of metal?
Yeah. Well, her and I have different stories, but the paths just kept kind of crossing like this, and so that's why we're here together. But we got our bachelor's degrees together.
Nice.
At the same place, Northern Arizona University. She went to Indiana and started to study her master's degree. I went to Italy, and I did a summer program, and I got to do leads, and that was really enlightening for me, because it really was clear how demanding and competitive the classical world was. And while I was a player at that time, I was actually having more fun going into the little bars in Italy and like playing on their piano and playing rock and playing pop and like not singing classical music, you know. So when I came back, I decided to deviate. I wanted to find modern styles. I wanted to find a band, and that's how I ended up with Limberlost. And so strangely, after we parted ways, you know, we were not super close friends in our bachelors, but we knew each other. We were friends vicariously. It's sort of like, you know, when you get a vocal degree, you're kind of put in someone's studio. It's kind of like a house in Hogwarts. So like she was in like Hufflepuff and I was in like Ravenclaw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like I knew her, we were friends, but like I was a Ravenclaw, she was a Hufflepuff. That's how it go. Okay.
Great analogy.
So we ended up moving to Seattle the exact same day out of nowhere. We're like, no way. So we become friends, become really good friends. I join a rock band. She joins a metal band. It's just this really cool thing that ended up getting these like weird ties that we had together, that when the opportunity became available and I was looking for who is that second singer going to be in this brand, she was the one who came to mind. And so it was really, it was very kismet. It was awesome.
You know, I think that there's actually, between opera and metal, of all the kind of popular music genres, there's more crossover there. They're closer together than any others. And I think the reason is to sing metal well, you have to have some training, unlike a lot of pop music, or you'll just burn yourself out. And so maybe that's why. Now, we don't do a lot of operatic style metal or anything like that, but there is, you can't deny that there's a lot of that if you just look for it. And I think they're just closer than you would think, actually.
Yeah.
Limberlost also welcomed a couple of new kids on this album too, with Steve Unger from Metal Church up there by himself joining on bass, and his son Devon joining on guitar. So this is your time to shine, guys. What did each of them bring to the band and this album particularly?
I leave for this one then.
We may be looking for another guitar player after we answer that question.
No,
I'll tell you. You go ahead.
I'll leave you go.
Okay, so I got to say that when we were, you know, shopping this and starting to think about the band that was going to pull this off, because like Brittany had said, we'd just come off a little minute, you know, we did the European thing, and then we had a couple shows and our Sturgis Rally thing the following year, but the band was kind of disintegrating a little bit at that point. And so as we pushed forward, it was very clear that we probably weren't going to be able to go forward with the membership that we had and accomplish the things that we were trying to do. Not because there wasn't capabilities there, it was just different creative direction, that was going to present itself. So I remember that talking to Paul Crosby, and he says, "Oh, we'll just hire guys down here in Nashville and Houston," because that's where we were at the time. We were in Nashville, and I was like, there's some people back home I really would love to explore before we go down that road, and this kid right here was one of them. And Brittany will back me up. I say, I really want to talk to Devon. Because he really impressed me a couple of times when I'd asked him to do some work with us, but things just weren't going to work out. But it was how he handled that really impressed me. And he's just a great player. Like I said, we've been crossing paths. I saw this kid play when he was like 15.
Yeah.
Wow. In fact, I think he opened up for one of the cover bands that I was with back then.
I think so too.
And and so it was just kind of that whole deal was like, yeah, I really think Devon would be the guy for this, and especially with some of the stuff we were writing, I could just see him performing it. Which, by the way, he kills. Okay, he brings life to the songs way better than I think we even anticipated.
The songs deserve it.
And well, thank you, sir. But it was funny because I reached out to him, and like most 30-year-olds, they don't answer their texts right away. And so like 2 or 3 days had gone by and I hadn't heard back from him. And I was like, I really should probably call his old man. That's who my buddy is. And I don't want him to think I'm pushing his kid and all that. So I called Steve and, we were driving around. He's like, well, yeah, heck. And I go, well, I'm looking for guitar. I'm looking for bass. I was trying to reach out to Devon and da-da-da. And he goes, well, send me the stuff and I'll check it out. And I'll see if I can know some people and all that. So, I never really, because Steve is one of these guys that, he's a local legend for one.
Yeah, he is.
But,
yes, he is.
He's a, I've always looked at Steve and marveled at what he does. He's full time, he's out there touring. He's been with Metal Church since the early 2000s. And, I've just, he's got this great storied career that he's had working with Autograph and several other bands. And, it just didn't really resonate with me that Steve would be either in a position or interested to do what we were doing. But I definitely was interested in talking to Devon. And then lo and behold, I sent the stuff to Steve and he calls me back and he goes, well, what do you think about having a bass player? I'll let them tell their stories from there. But, it just really was better than I expected in terms of, having these two join. I'm very tickled that they joined. I'm excited that, and the way things have come together and are sounding are just insane. I can't wait for people to see us live and see what we're doing and hear the album when it pops out here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, nice. And what about from you guys' perspective? Why did you want to be part of Limberlost?
You go ahead, Greg.
Well, like Mike said, he reached out to me to see if I knew anybody that'd be interested, and at the time, it's like there was no way. There's really no way I could take on more work. But I heard the stuff. I said, send me the tracks that you guys are working on, and I heard it, and I was like, God damn, these guys spread their wings and grew up, man. I mean, this is really good shit. And Devon, he said, yeah, they messaged me a few times, but I haven't gotten back to them yet. And I was like, well, check this stuff out. I sent it to Devon, and he got back right away. What the fuck, Dad? So,
good.
The material was so good that I was like, man, I think we should make time to be a part of this thing. And, so we've been involved here for 2-3 months now with you guys. And, launched the album and we got dates coming up here, man. And I'm really excited about all the cool things that are going to be happening here real soon.
Nice.
The important takeaway there is that Devon does get his messages, but he just doesn't respond to them.
Okay. You sent me, I got one message and I forgot to respond to it because I think I was a little tipsy when I got it and I forgot to respond to it. And then my dad called me and I was like, oh shit, that's right.
Mike was texting me a couple nights ago. And
Mike was texting me.
I didn't purposely ignore them. I literally just forgot about it.
Okay.
And then my dad got a hold of me and sent me the stuff and I was like, yeah, dude, this is so cool, man. This is badass. This material is great. Yeah. So I made a point to get back ASAP to him on that, especially after I heard the songs, because like I don't really if I didn't actually like the material, I don't even care if I'm getting paid well. If I don't like the material, it's hard for me to be interested in doing anything. If I don't, but I actually enjoy all of these songs. Like they're actually good songs in my opinion. So it made me want to be a part of it, even if it was just for a fill-in or something. I wanted to learn these songs and play them just because it was fun and they sounded good. And here I am, and now I'm actually in the band. I'm grateful to be a part of this project. I think it's going to go really far.
Yeah. No, Jack, just clear this up. You guys both played on the album, did you?
Recorded before we joined.
They put this stuff together. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was our job to like recreate it, and that was the fun part, in my opinion.
We had to learn what was played on the album, and for me, it was really difficult because it is completely different from what I would have played on an album. Not that it's not good, because it is good, but it's the playing on the album is a whole lot more disciplined, and each note is accounted for in a way that each note's not usually accounted for the way I play. I mean, the recorded every Metal Church album, yes, there's a place for every single note, but it's always been about pushing and making the band go faster and faster and harder, and it's just the opposite with this. It's about grabbing the reins and pulling the whole thing back and just like holding this tidal wave of sound back from crashing on the beach. And so the hard work of this is less is more. And it's been the hardest thing for me is to be wrapping my mind around that. I'm playing less notes, just more disciplined in the way I'm playing them.
Yeah,
so
nice.
that's been the struggle for me.
Yeah, cool. Now, you mentioned live shows before, and you've got a couple coming up. You've got one on August 23rd on the main stage of the International Singer-Songwriter Association Awards in Atlanta, and the other is part of the Rock the Locks Festival on September 28 alongside Seether, Dirty Honey, Blackstone Cherry, and Us and Up and more. So tell us about them. They sound like good shows.
Well, we've been in contact with the ISIC folks for years, probably pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually we were supposed to be actually playing there and accepting. I think we were Band of the Year and Album of the Year, and then the COVID thing happened, and then they canceled it that year. We just kind of went to the Midwest and just started touring it all anywhere that was open. But we've always been in touch with them, and this year we're actually up for, I believe, 4 more awards, and we're going to be presenting an award, and we'll get to play. So it'd be great if we actually won and got to play.
Yeah.
But we're putting together some shows, to make the trip a little more financially reasonable. We're going to do some shows between Texas and Florida, and that's real exciting. I mean, we've got Third Eye Blind. There's Dirty Honey. There's what's your favorite band? Was it?
Jumpsuit Apparatus.
Oh yeah, nice.
All American Rejects. That's actually my favorite one on the bill. It's probably All American Rejects. We're not on the same day, unfortunately.
No, I'm excited for Third Eye Blind, man. I'm no way. That's like some of my first favorite songs.
Like Black Veil Brides will be there, Seether will be there. A lot of really good bands that I'd like to see will be there, but we're just not on the same day as a lot of them.
We're actually going to be doing shows the Friday and the Saturday, like Tony said. Looks like we're going to probably be in Seattle on that Friday, and then in Portland on that Saturday, and then we go out and play Sunday out there at Rock the Locks.
And we get to play again with Dorothy. We played with her at
the
Rockin' the Rivers.
Yeah, with her and Scott Stapp and Daughtry.
We played with Dorothy, and we played with Dirty Honey. We played with Bush, and a lot of those bands at the Rockin' the Rivers Festival in Montana. So it'll be great to see them again. Not that we're like buds, but it'll be just good to see them again.
I don't know. Her and I held hands and watched Scott Stapp.
She had a moment.
We had a moment.
I have some really embarrassing pictures of myself with Dorothy that nobody will ever see.
I found it very strange because I stood next to Scott Stapp and Daughtry, and we all three were the same size, and I'm not tall. So I was like, wow, you guys are just short like me. This is cool.
You're short like me.
Well, Scott Stapp was short like me, but he was in heels. So I don't know.
He was in heels. He was in heels. He's hot.
Where's the best place for people to find out more about what you guys are doing and get hold of you?
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Well, probably our website. If you go to limberlostmusic.com, you're going to find out all kinds of cool stuff on that website. But what's even cooler is you can actually there's 2 things on that. There's a special going on where you can click and get our album for free with code
Free?
Limberlost10 free. With code Limberlost10. You got to get it soon, though, because that's going to go away. And we have basically our entire tour on our VIP page on our website. That's $35 a year for access to that. But it's pretty cool. You get to see every single show. You get to see us pranking each other.
See Devon losing his phone.
Alien footage, Devon losing his phone, bloopers from our recording, all kinds of fun stuff on that VIP. You'll feel like you're part of the band. Limberlostmusic.com. You'll get it.
And then, of course, all the streaming platforms, we much appreciate it. We just got landed some stuff on Pandora. So if you're Pandora, we'd love to see you there and streaming that. We've got Spotify, of course, and YouTube. Our new videos out. Actually, we got a lyric video that dropped already, right? So we've got a couple alien videos out there, and
it's doing really well, dude.
Yeah, it went over 300,000 views yesterday.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice. All right, guys. Well, thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. The album Beautiful Scars is out June 13th, and these guys aren't full of shit. It is a very good album. They've done a good job, so get yourselves a copy and take a listen.
No, we are full of shit, but it is a good album.